What up? Here's the question of the day. What have you discovered about yourself from past relationships, love and otherwise? Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's have a judgment-free conversation because that's what these questions and that's what this channel is all about. Let's support one another. Let's unite instead of untie. And so yesterday's question was about relationships, and so is today. They're slightly different, of course, but I wanted to bring this up because last night in Chicago, I hosted a co-ed event for men and women. I host monthly events for women, but every 3 or 4 months I do a co-ed event on a Saturday night. And last night's event was amazing. I had close to 60 people there. It was phenomenal. And the topic was relationships. And so we not only had a discussion, we had a conversation with the audience, but we also told personal stories. And so this was one of the questions I actually posed in the very beginning of the evening as we had a conversation. And because we don't just walk away from a relationship and say, okay, I'm done with that, right? We take that information and we learn from it, and hopefully we become better people and better at future relationships. And relationships can mean, love or like, or just relationships with human beings in general, whether it's colleagues or whether you're, getting a cup of coffee at the coffee shop. And so I want to hear from you. Comment below and let's talk about this. Come be part of this judgment-free conversation. What is something that you've learned from past relationships? Like I said, love and otherwise. What is something that you've taken away? What have you learned about yourself? Comment below and come be part of this discussion. So what is something that I've learned about myself from past relationships? Well, I guess I always take away something. I mean, even the relationships that haven't been, I don't want to say successful, because if I've learned something from it, of course it's successful. And, I think about that I've learned about myself, and I've learned to be a kinder person. I've learned to be a more gentle person, and I've learned to not expect anyone else to be perfect. I guess that's something that, because I don't expect perfection from someone else, so I'm not perfect in my own self. So I guess that's something that I've learned. I've also learned to have a little bit of empathy, and that there's always a backstory, right? There's always a story behind somebody. And so, that's, I guess, what I've taken away from all of this, is that just to be a little kinder, a little bit more, understanding. And also, I learned that nobody is a mind reader. Right, that it's not, someone can't read my mind. Let me just tell people what I'm thinking, in a kind way, of course. But I don't ever want to play the game of they should just know what I'm talking about. No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't, because this is why communication is so important. So that's a little bit about me. Now I want to hear from you. Comment below and let's talk about this. Let's have a judgment-free conversation and let's support one another. And while you're here, subscribe. Come hang out with us. This is kind of a cool place to be. And invite a friend, because the more people that are part of this conversation, the sooner we can change the world. Thanks.